Hi, yes, you. The one who opened this video instead of doing the thing you are supposed to be doing right now. Do not close it. Do not scroll away because what you are about to hear is going to explain something about yourself that nobody has ever explained to you properly. And by the end of it, you will never call yourself lazy again. You have a deadline tomorrow. You know exactly what needs to be done. You sit down, open your laptop, and then spend the next 2 hours watching videos, scrolling your phone, reorganizing your desk, and making your third cup of coffee. The work sits there, untouched, and somewhere in the back of your mind, a voice says, "What is wrong with you?" Nothing is wrong with you, but something is happening inside your brain that most people never understand. And until you understand it, you will keep losing the same battle over and over again. No matter how many productivity apps you download, no matter how many times you promise yourself things will be different tomorrow. Procrastination is not laziness. It never was. Laziness is not caring. Procrastination is caring deeply and still not being able to move. That distinction matters more than most people realize. In 2007, psychologist Piers Steele published one of the most comprehensive analyses of procrastination ever conducted, reviewing over 800 studies spanning decades of research. What he found dismantled every common assumption about why people delay. Procrastination, Steele concluded, is fundamentally an emotional regulation problem, not a time management problem, not an intelligence problem, not a character flaw, an emotional one. Here is what that means. When you face a task, and especially one that feels difficult, unclear, boring, or tied to a fear of failure, your brain generates a negative emotional response. Anxiety, dread, self-doubt, overwhelm, and the moment that emotional discomfort appears, your brain does what it was designed to do. It moves you away from the source of pain and towards something that feels better right now. YouTube feels better. Your phone feels better. Anything feels better than sitting with that discomfort. This is not weakness. This is your brain's threat response system doing exactly what evolution built it to do: avoid pain and seek relief. The problem is that this system was designed for physical threats, not deadlines. It cannot tell the difference between a lion and a tax return. Both feel like danger. Both trigger the same escape response. Neuroscientist Judson Brewer has studied the brain patterns of chronic procrastinators using neuroimaging and found something striking. The same neural circuits that activate when we experience physical pain also light up when we anticipate a difficult or unpleasant task. Your brain is not being dramatic. It genuinely experiences the thought of doing hard work as a form of threat, and avoiding it provides immediate, measurable relief, which reinforces the avoidance behavior and makes it more likely to happen again next time. This is why willpower almost never works as a long-term solution. Willpower asks you to feel the discomfort and push through it anyway, and for small tasks or short bursts, it can work. But when the emotional weight is heavy enough, willpower runs out. It is a limited resource. Researchers Roy Baumeister and Diane Tice called this ego depletion. The more decisions and acts of self-control you exercise throughout a day, the less capacity you have for more. By the time you sit down to do the hard thing in the evening, your willpower tank is often empty. So why do some people procrastinate more than others? Researcher Fushia Siroas at the University of Sheffield found that chronic procrastinators have significantly higher levels of self-compassion deficits, meaning they are harder on themselves when they fail, not easier. The shame spiral that follows procrastination: I am so lazy, I am such a failure. Why can I never just do the thing? Actually makes the next bout of procrastination more likely, not less. Because shame increases emotional discomfort, which increases the need to escape, which increases avoidance. The self-criticism meant to motivate you is the very thing that keeps you stuck. And then there is the role of time. Psychologists call it temporal discounting, the tendency for human beings to value rewards in the present far more than rewards in the future. The benefit of finishing your project is real, but it exists somewhere out there, days or weeks away. The relief of not doing it right now is immediate. Your brain is not irrational. It is doing exactly what brains do, prioritizing the present. The future version of you who has to deal with the consequences feels like a stranger, and we do not make sacrifices for strangers the way we make them for ourselves. Understanding all of this changes the question you need to ask. The question is no longer, how do I force myself to do this? The question becomes, how do I make starting feel less threatening? Because research consistently shows that the hardest part of any task is not the doing, it is the starting. The moment you actually begin, the emotional resistance drops significantly. Psychologists call this the Zeigarnik effect. Once a task is started, your brain treats it as unfinished business and actually motivates you to continue. The dread lives almost entirely in the anticipation, not the action. This means the most powerful thing you can do is make the starting point so small it cannot be avoided. Not write the report, open the document, not exercise, put on your shoes, not study, read one paragraph. The goal is not to trick yourself. The goal is to shrink the perceived threat until your brain no longer classifies it as something to escape from. Self-compassion, research shows, is also more effective than self-criticism at reducing procrastination. When Fuxia Sirois had participants respond to their own failures with kindness rather than judgment, they were more likely to try again sooner, more likely to learn from the experience, and significantly less likely to avoid the task next time. Being gentle with yourself is not an excuse. It is a strategy. Also know that the voice asking what is wrong with you has the wrong question entirely. Nothing is wrong with you. You are a human brain doing what human brains do, avoiding pain, seeking comfort, protecting itself from threat. The work is not the enemy. The feeling before the work is.